combination. San Francisco Shock, though, has always written their own script. So now they'll be out of the doors here to start off our match of the week. It is Oasis and the Shock. They're in the orange.
And these teams have scrimmed each other in the past, so they know what to expect. The Shanghai Dragons come out with Pharah, Tracer. They're going to run just Gamsu as the solo tank playing Wrecking Ball, but it'll be interesting to see the Shock's compositions throughout this match. What they've learned playing against Ding's Pharah, how to play around it. Right now, I mean, Ding's putting down tons of damage, man. I mean, he's already, you know, very close to a rocket barrage. 50% of the team's damage, but you see the Shock just getting right up in everybody else's space. They don't pay attention to the rocket barrage going down from behind. This should be the Dragons able to control the point first, though.
Chocoban now going down, and I don't really think Super's going to be able to do too much here. Gets Coma! Both supports for Super. Moth just chilling on the point here. He's going to be a little bit difficult to kill, especially Diem on his own is going to have some trouble. So, the Shock may want to contest here before the point is captured immediately after. Coalescence already out from Violet there just to make sure that Moth survives. And now Gamsu drops on in. Minefield also thrown out, but the Shock are able to disperse before those mines are active. Violet now having to deal with Gamsu. Gamsu back to the high ground, but DM is down. Super actually got rid of him. Yongjin gets brought back into the fight, but the Shanghai Dragons get decimated before they had a chance to even have 6 players ready to fight.
And you know what's, you know, we watched 2 series today, right? And a lot of teams, they've come out, run some damage dealer heavy stuff, and the other team has run it the exact opposite way. And for whatever reason, they haven't gone to the composition that the Shock's running. We know this is good against the damage dealers. You play a Winston version of the 3-3, you can have a Moira in for the Zen for some extra healing, you know, some more mobility, and you're able to break it. I wonder when the Dragons decide to switch off of what they're running now.
Look at that wedge that Super just drove between the front and back lines of the Dragons there. Just put up his bubble. Oh, could be trouble now. Primal Rage. I would have loved to see him chase after Demon and see if he could get him with the self-kill damage from the bomb. Doesn't work. He's put to sleep now. Super and Primal will be back up in just a second. But Gamsu has the nano boost. Hasn't done a heck of a lot with the extra damage and damage mitigation. Ding now has to drop in and make the play, but Choi Hogan was sat there waiting. He knew it was coming. Sitting just close enough to Ding, so the splash damage from Ding's own rockets will be his own demise. And now the Shock are at 45%. DM realizes there's nothing more to do here.
And this is what good teams do against damage dealer heavy compositions with the solo tank Wrecking Ball. So now you'll see changes come in for the Dragons. I think Gamsu probably go over to Reinhardt. You would think, yep. So they're going to play the Sombra version of Goats. So you bring Ding in on his Sombra. This is really what they've been going to the last few games that we've casted. Is they really haven't been playing that much Diva, like really traditional. They've either been playing damage dealers or Sombra.
Moth taxis the Shock in Super. Counter charge against Gamsu. Very close to the edge, teetering, but a Super goes off. Gamsu also follows too. Reinhardt's in the drink. The Shock maintain control and have a Graviton surge here. Care of Sinatra. Ding's not really getting a lot of space either. Moth is continuing to harass him as he tries to cross the map, and it seems like Coma is a worthwhile reward for a one-player grab. Moth's gone down. Both teams have lost their Lucio players, and Sinatra needs to be very careful now. Hastily being healed as he plays off the point, and there it is, trying to force Ding out into the open, but the EMP connects. It's Super and Sinatra, and Super gets burnt down. Gamsu's very low behind his barrier, and the Discord Orb helps Chocoban deal with him. To the high ground is Ding. He's trying to stay out of the fight and get some hacks, but a Transcendence here, that is very timely. It will force a response from Luffy in the same manner. Rascal Discord are taken down despite there being healing there. And now Luffy going to push out with the rest of the Dragons. The Shock almost had it, but Shanghai break through.
Shock will have some ultimates though. You'll have Shatter, Bomb. You're going to also have a Graviton Surge coming in here. So you know they don't really have any support ultimates if you're the Shock. They just use EMP. You can invest into this fight and really try and end it here. I think if you don't invest into this fight, you're playing that one fight game. They grab onto Sinatra. They want to take him out right away. Nice charge there from Gamsu.
He had to do that. If the Dragons don't commit heavily on towards that grab, they probably wouldn't have been able to follow up on it properly because most of the players at the Shock are out of their line of sight.
They needed to grab there early because they needed the ability to win a clean fight to build up some more ultimates. So remember I was talking about how the Shock had a lot of ultimates to just kind of go in where the Dragons had none. Now you take a look at the real, you know, what the Dragons have. They're going to have both support ults now, EMP. They have a Shatter. They're going to have Rally. It's all built up on you getting that clean fight, getting the easy fight win. Nobody dies. You're the one putting down the tons of damage.
A quandary here for Ding. Do I EMP first to prevent Sinatra from grabbing, or after and take the sound barrier away? It's going to be first. Super realizes, oh, I don't want to be here. Moth's going to go for the the sound barrier though, and Sinatra's been taken down. He didn't use grab to his credit, so the Shock will have a chance, but we're getting into one fight territory here. Rascal trying to stay alive. He did have an Orb of Harmony on him, and he's able to stave off and shrug off the damage from Ding. That is a long-range Graviton Surge, and DM follows it up in person. Violet is taken down, and the Shanghai Dragons have control of the point. Now we're in overtime, and no one from the Shock is remotely close. They are halfway to ending the lossless map win streak from the San Francisco Shock, and the Dragons look good so far.
And Choyobin, you were probably wondering like why he didn't get back to the point to contest after using self-destruct. He actually got hacked, so he's not able to recall that mech in. Moth extremely low. It'll be interesting what the Shock go with here on our next point is. This is about as good a map draw here for the Dragons as you could get. Like Oasis or Busan, you really liked your chances in both of those. Like Li Zhang would have been way more of a triple tank, triple support matchup. All right, it'll be the Dragons coming out. Ding on the Pharah, Diem on the Tracer, no surprises here. Super gonna run the Reinhardt here to kick things off. So you do have a lot of places in the point you can hide around here for the Shock, but no, you don't have that mobility of Reinhardt, of Winston here on the point, which could be trouble.
The Shock will play the high ground. Will make it conditionally easier to access Shanghai's Pharah, considering they don't have a lot of tools otherwise to harass. Look at this though, what a read!
Yeah, nice.
Identify Luffy was hanging out, skulking in the back channels, and they chase him down. Point now unlocked.
Well, it's what you have to do if you're the Shock, right? You have to be aggressive on the supports, really punish, Luffy for playing the Ana just in the back line. Gamsu very low, Rascal chase him down, so... you have Youngjin now switch off of Brigitte to go to Soldier 76, so at least on Soldier, he'll be able to play around Luffy if you want to stay on the Ana, but I think some change is going to come in here for the Dragons, so Ding probably goes over to Summer, yeah, so I mean, this is what they've been really good at. Damage dealer, heavy comps, Sombra goats.
And you're a full team fight ahead, the San Francisco Shock of the Dragons in alt economy.
Oh yeah, I mean...
Ring around the rosy.
You know they've changed everything now, right? So why the need to invest anything if you're the Shock when you get it?
Absolutely. DM has no personal bubble left. He gets taken out pretty early on in the fight. Coalescence is there for Violet, but again, why use it? Doesn't need to. Well, maybe he does. Super gets taken down by Ding. Now, he's going to go for it now. Koma's not going to be able to get away. I tell you what, Coalescence very handy for getting those more mobile heroes in a pinch. Extremely long range. And enough damage to force you to respect it.
And I think also you want to use the Coalescence because you're going to go back to the spawn and play Zen. So I think now you can get him on Zenyatta, you can get him up near the high ground or in the back.
He needs to be taxied though.
Yep, they'll send Moth back there. Yep, Moth already going back for the taxi, so... And I also think it's worth investing in the Coalescence there. It's one ultimate for a one fight and 60%. I mean, that's huge, especially on this point where you see fights drawn out for so long. That, really on this point, once a team gets control, you have two good fights, and that's really about it.
Moth would love to get barrier early here. Probably should expect, well, I mean, expecting Ding to get EMP in one fight maybe isn't something you do, but nice work by Sinatra, quickly going forward. And again, that one pick on Luffy is Ding, he still had the use of his primary fire even though he was hacked up. And now as the support's putting in the work for the Shock, Violet and Moth with 3 between the two of them. Where you going? Where you going? You just wanted to talk.
You know what's wild? Coming into this season, I feel like Rascal's the one pickup for the Shock, like nobody talked about. And he's like arguably the one that's made like one of the largest impacts with his ability to play damage dealers. He can play Brigitte, he can play off tanks, he can play Batiste, right? He can do so many other things players can't do. Is a trade here. No, I mean, that's a pretty good trade for the Shock, right? You know, you lose your Hog, but they lose Sombra, and they're really playing around that Sombra.
They've lost Super now, though. That might be an issue. Gamsu is alive and about to Earth Shadow. Long-range Graviton Surge catches Sinatra, and looks like the has been to the school of Sinatra Zaya. It's definitely worthwhile for these teams to just grab. Okay, well, what is that? That's like a horizontal tactical crouch. I mean, that didn't quite go up and down. It was like left to right.
So Rascal goes off of Hog now, goes to Brig. So you have a lot of ultimates here for the Dragons. I think that you're looking at like 2 fights here for the Shock before they really get the ultimate advantage. So we'll see. Maybe you can use a Grav, but you have Ding here waiting. Translocator already placed towards his side of the map here. He's going to go with the EMP. Sound Barrier comes in there, able to keep everybody up.
Great response. Look, in lieu of having a Zenyatta here, that is the answer you want to have with the Shock, but they lose Super yet again. Graviton Surge. The bomb might have been an overinvestment here. Youngjin's forced to put out the shield really quickly, and Luffy's playing off the point, but Coalescence from Violet. He's definitely out for blood here. Sinatra stunned up briefly. Youngjin putting together quite some hijinks on the point. And the Dragons are still in control currently, but it's unlikely they'll extend that very much. Again, getting Gamsu there was an extra 500 HP of ultimate charge.
Yeah, and also getting Gamsu, that's when they decide to use the self-destruct because there's no shield in the mix. Violet goes back to spawn real quick. He's going to go over to Zen, so you saw Transcendence from the Dragons. Now you bring out your own Zen, so still Luffy in ahead, but you know with the way Violet plays, you expect him to catch up pretty quick.
DM's already half health before the fight started. I don't really think that's what the Dragons wanted from this, but they kind of felt like they had no choice, especially after Youngjin had already used his rally. Very quickly, DM is blown up, and he's not given much of an opportunity to get another grab. And now Sinatra is neck and neck with him again.
And you still have this Earth Shatter. Super still with the Shatter here in play. So we'll see if they can set this up. Ding with the EMP, though. You don't have a support ultimate here, like where like a Moth or a Violet could hide. So you're going to have to maybe bait somebody out here. Try and get like a... They're only playing Super on the point. So you can see from their POV, they're going to just EMP try and run through them.
Try and get Super. I think that's all they were looking for there, and it works out. They get rid of the main tank from the Shock, and Torikovan is manually hacked in midair. But Sinatra gets himself too. Might be in position to save the day. Comes to his solo, and DM is cut down. The San Francisco Shock make that 25 map wins in a row.
It was not easy, though. The Dragons put up a really good fight, but kind of like what we expected, though. Once they were forced off of the damage dealers, it was all Shock.
Now we're going to head to a quick sojourn, and we'll be back with our next map in this series. The Shock still looking for that perfect clean sheet.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Welcome to Assist of the Week, presented by State Farm. Iconvalda is an especially fun map for Sombra, and Ding from the Shanghai Dragons shows you why. Translocating from the rooftops, Ding falls into the whole Florida Mayhem team, lets an EMP rip, and allows Gamsu to earth-shatter them down.
That's a huge one. Whoa, it's a big EMP into a huge earth shatter from Gamsu, actually. The timing on that was impeccable.
Mentioned as one of the players that the Shock are most afraid of, especially in this matchup. Especially with him on the other side of the stage. It is Ding, of course, and did show us a fair bit of Sombra action previously. We saw some Pharah, which really punished the Shock on that first stage of Oasis, but Matt, wasn't quite enough.
Yeah, and I think they really miss having a D.Va player in the lineup right now, where Choyobin on the other side making a huge difference for the Shock. He is always in position, like perfectly. Like a lot of times when they let Super, get solo EMP'd, there's a self-destruct to follow it up. So like Gamsu can't just charge in, really put pressure on him, and you see some numbers here from map number 1. Pretty sick stuff from Choyobin.
How big a limitation do you think it is, Matt, that Shanghai are fielding a roster that doesn't really see a lot of D.Va play?
I mean, I think D.Va's insane, right? I mean, just the stuff that hero can do, like next map coming up, here will be Paris, but I mean, think about it. D.Va does not lack mobility, great mobility, great defensive, right, with being able to use a defense matrix, right, and being able to use it on a meter, right, use it up and down to mitigate any types of damage. Good damage herself with the micro rockets and her gun, no reload on it. I mean, there's not really a downside to having D.Va in the game. Like, I mean, you would want, yeah, but I mean, you're playing 3 tanks. Everybody's got a large hitbox, right? So I think it's D.Va. Obviously, there's a reason she was one of the highest pick rate heroes last year and this year, right? So not having a D.Va in the mix kind of hurts.
So ask yourself, ladies and gentlemen, every time there's a fight or something goes on, interactions occur, ask yourself what would happen if maybe the Dragons had a D.Va in play.
And the answer seems for the Shock against these damage dealers that they're running on defense. This time you're actually going to have Ding on Pharah, and then you're going to be playing just 3 supports, so you don't have the Tracer in play. So Ryan Zarya with a Pharah. Interesting look here from Shanghai, but it seems the Shock's answer, though, is just play Violet on Moira. Just pump out the heals. Look, let Choi just go up, Pester. Look how much space he's now created. Look where he's pushed Ding out into the choke. This allows him to fight it on the point.
The Shock can't play this composition into what the Dragons have without the Moira. And you can't play the Moira, really, without there being a lack of D.Va on the other side, I feel. Those biotic orbs are so important because you are taking a ton of damage. You need a high healing capacity hero to stave off what Ding is currently doing to the Shock. See, this guy's pounding them. He's already had a barrage, and his team is still losing the fight. Koma's down. He doesn't have his running mate anymore, and he gets removed.
Yeah, but that is where Choyobin on D.Va pushes Ding and Koma to the initial offensive choke, and then that isolates 2 players there for the Dragons and creates a favorable scenario for the Shock over by the point. And all Choyobin has to do is just fly up, pressure him back. Then Ding uses a barrage, right? Choyobin just flies out of the way, lets the barrage goes up. You get nothing for the barrage, and then you just get back to the point. You find Koma flying a little bit too low, and look, now you have an ultimate advantage here for the Shock going into point B.
Shanghai, of course, forced to switch cover things, and that's Sinatra. He's not usually the kind of person to worry too much about the pleasantries of an encounter. Straight on in. Everything overturned. Shadow there for Super. Oh no, we saw that, bro. Don't worry. We saw it. And your stream will remind you of it every time you misplay. High ground at the moment. Yongjin goes for the rally. Now, no good. Not even close.
Yikes.
San Francisco know exactly what they're up against. The real question is, do the Dragons? We'll be back with our second half of this map in just a moment.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Anyone smell that? No, it's not Sinatra's stinky jersey. It's the smell of burning rubber as the shock just screeched through the map. By the way, the Talent Takedown is coming up pretty darn soon, presented to you by T-Mobile. And the All-Star Arcade presented by State Farm, coming up on the 15th, 6 p.m. guys. Don't miss it. Don't miss. I'm going to feed. Just
Yeah, he is. So this is a play from Choyobin a little bit earlier. So this is when Ding tries to use the Rocket Barrage to take him out. Look at this, 40 HP, uses his defense matrix, gets to the other side and gets some heals, and he's able to take out Koma, who gets a little bit low there.
dude.
Here's something interesting. So the Dragons in the first half, they out-damage the Shock by about 300. Having the Moira in play for the Shock, though, they out-heal 3k. That is a huge difference in just the healing output you have. Sinatra playing the Sombra here on D. Interesting look.
Oh, there you go. New fastest time on Paris.
Oh, beating Shanghai's record.
Yep. All right. See what Sinatra gets done here on Sombra. Sleek dart attempt there from Violet with no connection. Coma manually hacked. Moth also. Ding v Sinatra on the Sombra.
We ran some stats a little bit earlier in the pre-show, but Sinatra's Sombra has been pretty effective for the Shock as well this stage. They've not played it as much as some other players, but still ranks pretty good in terms of like per 10 minutes. As Choi gets body blocked there, Gamsu gets hacked, but not going to be able to do anything here. Is Sinatra probably just trying to farm an EMP here for point B?
By San Francisco standards, that was pretty average use of the Winston defense here in this triple support setup. I mean, the problem for Choi Hyobin is that he kind of got stuck there just past that little kiosk in the corner. He couldn't get back to his team while he was trying to chase down Luffy.
And maybe they thought that there were going to be more damage dealers that came out for the Dragons on offense, but they decide instead the Dragons to start off what they've been switching to after the damage dealers. Now, for the Shock, you're probably going to see an early EMP. Yep, there it is. So Sinatra can now hope they'll win this fight, and then Sinatra can go over to Zarya, but big counter EMP there from Ding.
There we go. They didn't get rid of Luffy. That's the issue. He had Transcendence. They hit a big EMP. Luffy has no shield. Are we going to have another record set?
They want their record back. They want their record back.
Not quite going to happen by the looks of things. Shoyobin deserted down. Shatter. Sinatra now. Edgy as you like. Oh, that's a huge Shatter. 4 down. Sinatra now also back there with the extra damage. Super swinging Luffy in the corner. Can't do anything about it. How have you come back from this? Super. Come on. I was like, it's over, surely.
Look at this.
Look at Super.
Super's going to release a montage after the stage, and it's just going to be that play over and over again for 12 minutes.
Brain got more wrinkles than a prune. Rascal on the Batiste.
You're going deep in the bag of tricks today. Bringing out all the...
You haven't even seen my final form.
So Rascal goes over to the Batiste. So you get Sinatra on the Zarya as well, and like everybody used a ton of ultimates in that previous fight. So Shock going to put Super on the point. Bait him out. They got to get on the point here. Choyobin gets a touch.
Nano's good. It keeps Super alive for quite some time, but the point is to use his survivability to be able to get damage to the rest of the Dragons. Unfortunately, the Shock weren't really able to stop Shanghai in their single-minded pursuit of taking that enemy Reinhardt out of the picture. Looks like another decent fight from them here. Choi Hyobin desuited. Oh dear, that's quite the cartwheel. 10 out of 10 from the judges, surely. Now Moth should get cleaned off the point, and that will get it done for the Shanghai Dragons. Still pretty fast, if not as fast as the Shock.
In any other match, I mean, that is a tremendous time for the Dragons, right? The Shock just set a record, though, 6 minutes in the time bank. The Dragons with 4 minutes and 39 in the time bank. This is going to be a long map. We'll see you after the break.
about it. If Super doesn't just walk out of spawn and hit a meaty 5,
we're looking at 6-minute time banks for each team.
That's right. So Shanghai will attack once more because they have less time in their time bank. By the way, hashtag OWLMOTW. That's where we're talking about this specific match as opposed to the OWL in general. So that's a great place to interact and have your voices heard. Hopefully we can feature some of your tweets. I know you love that. I know you guys love making up stories that aren't true to get on there.
Yeah. Oh, I'll dye my hair if the Dragons win.
I'll get a tattoo of Matt's face on my... Never mind.
If they cast. Yeah, no, yeah, all those things probably lie. But Reinhardt defense this time for the Shock. They come out with this because they realize how punished they got by having to switch after they held for really no time on the Winston comp. So they come out with the Reinhardt base. And I like this. Don't let the Dragons take free real estate going towards the right-hand side, allowing Ding to get space. Meet them at the choke and fight. That's how the Shock have gotten to this point where they haven't dropped the map all stage.
Look, that's where the Shock's composition gets a lot of their value, Matt. Super plays up and the choke gets bubbled. Both teams just start clashing head-to-head, but the Shock are fundamentally more durable because of the presence of Trichoban on that Diva, and, of course, have an extra tool in the kit for those big team fight winning setups, i.e. self-destruct.
So let's see. Are they going to meet them again? They're going to give up some more space this time, though.
Super wanted a bigger fire strike there. He wants a shatter pretty soon.
Oh, he's got one online.
There it is.
I'm surprised he didn't go there. A few players are actually chipped down there for the Dragons, but they're going to actually use the grab here. Yep. Clean fight win for the Shock. So the Dragons, I mean, you're just waiting around this EMP. You got it now. What will you be able to do with it? I think also without having the Zen in play here and having the Ana obviously can heal from range at a higher rate than Zen. You also, when you get EMP'd, if everybody clumps up, you have that big Biotic Grenade to keep everybody up, right?
Which also amps healing, so it makes you like your Zen.
Biotic Grenade plus Inspire.
Your Lucio's AoE healing, especially when it's like amplified by Lucio.
Oh no, this is nice. They speed right around the corner. They had no idea they were going with the Shatter there. Everybody has to back out, so... They did end up using Rally and Shatter there. They may have been able, with how much they caught them off guard, to just go with the Shatter with the speed boost, but...
I wonder how often the Shock and the NYXL get to scrim each other, Matt. I doubt that the Titans and the Shock are going to be scrim partners because they both sort of sit toward the top of the league and they expect to face each other in important games, but for a team that hasn't played the Titans all that often, they're very good in this 3-3 setup. Nano boost there from Violet. Sound barrier as well from Moth. Manual Hackle was choke open, so couldn't even self-destruct if he wanted to. Still a winnable fight without Rusker, but who the heck is dealing with Ding now? There's no Brigitte shield bash to really give this guy pause for thought, so he can play him more aggressively.
You still have Sinatra up on this middle platform. Yeah, they're going to go with a grab, because, well, once you get the Brig in the initial fight, the only thing you're worried about is Violet at range, healing for big amounts, and then also landing a big nano boost, so... Nice play there from DM. He recognizes that Sinatra and Violet, two high priority targets, sitting on the bridge alone. Cheoban nowhere near to be able to potentially eat that up with the defense matrix, so drops the grab down, picks up 2 kills. At that point, the Shock, they know the point is lost.
All right, there's the Transcendence here for Luffy. Violet having just switched off of the Ana, obviously there's no option for a Biotic Grenade way to sort of subvert a lot of that healing.
EMP here as well.
I mean, Shanghai kind of have what they need here, right?
But this is the same spot they were in. And then Super hit that massive Shatter, but...
Ding.
Okay, so they're going to let...
Careful, Rascal.
It's going to be a self-destruct in from Cheoban.
Alright, there it is. Shatter coming in from Gumsu then and knocks down Super and Sinatra. Sinatra almost had a Graviton Surge. That could have saved the Shock. Got them out of this one, but now there'll be no hope. It's going to be the Sombra. We'll call it the Ding Dong Dash and the Dragons. It gets in and gets out. Clean job.
Super goes over to Wrecking Ball, but not enough to get a touch of the point. That'll be 2 more points for the Dragons. The Dragons also with 1:27 in the time bank after this completion of the map. So now the pressure goes on the Shock.
Scumsu's Shatter here is... Notice the Shock are essentially corralled into the back because it's self-destruct. Skadoosh.
Nice play there from Gamsu's. I think he realizes that they have the Transcendence, doesn't have to worry about that self-destruct all the way in the back and push on forward. Do they play the Pharah on D again though? At least here looks likely. So I mean, this hurt them the last time, right? It did not work. Choyobin did a fantastic job on D.Va, pressuring him out. Okay. Little piano play here from Coma. See, these players are really worried in these high intense scenarios, you know?
How do the Dragons stop Violet from being able to just pump this insane healing onto the Shock and kind of make Ding useless? Like, the last time the Shock were able to deal with Ding almost last. We'll see what happens here.
Choyobin might
the Shock don't have a socket, so they can't like force Pharah to land with a hack.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, this is like, you have to trust Choyobin a lot to be able to handle this far.
Maybe it's an honor. Maybe they hope to hit a Bionic Grenade and like make it impossible for Violet to do anything.
That's true.
That seems like an interesting place to hedge your bets, though.
It's a real all-in strategy, right?
Yeah. Usually things flying a little bit closer to the ground. It doesn't work though, does it? Choyobin says, remember me!
They baited them into that so hard.
Oh god, and now the Shock, this is going to be a one-sided fight.
Oh no-y.
Well, Matt, if you give them an inch, they'll take you for everything you have. And the San Francisco Shock now, some nice little ult banks put up. Look at the switches on the Dragons. Coma, Luffy switching over. Ding having to switch now. DM with no ult charge in that fight. Sinatra's ahead of him.
And I mean, usually it's not an ult that's like extremely impactful, but having a coalescence here could actually be huge for the Shock. I mean, you'll be able to get this rather quickly. You can get onto the point. A ton of healing provided by Moira. And they're still not running the D.Va, so you get great value out of the orbs as well.
Super. Perhaps hoping to imply that he has Shatter by this point. Play a little bit more aggressive, or maybe that's just how he does it. Gumsu's, though, being well healed up here. Super needs to be a little careful. There it is. Nice start. Rascal, perfect. Shield Basher on Gumsu. Super baits the enemy Reinhardt into swinging, so he can't be protected from the brick stun. And now the Shock. Wow. Well, that only took them about, a minute.
The Shock now have completed the map with about 5 minutes remaining as well. As, man, this is going to be really tough. The Dragons with a minute, the Shock with 4 minutes and 56 seconds. We'll see how it plays out after this.
Still searching for their first golden stage are the Shock. Yes, everyone at Berkeley, thank you. I will call it what you want me to call it. Because last time I called you guys,
let's see,
something you didn't want to be called, you were very upset. So you just kill some Matt, alright? Hey, it's not that complicated, bro. Zoom, zoom, baby.
Yeah, that's kind of odd. Maybe he didn't see him like playing that low behind him. But yeah, really odd positioning there from Ding. And then once you lose that Pharah, I mean, that is all your damage we were talking about. You play all in that scenario with the Pharah comp. So back on defense goes the Shock. A minute and 26 on the clock here for the Dragons.
This is the world we live in, man.
As I think now we'll see them get aggressive again. I mean, this is what they did the last time, right? Oh, really nice. So Moth is actually in this choke already. And when the Dragons come into the choke, Moth is playing up on the high ground and boops them back towards this gated area to the left. Really nice positioning there from Moth. May have to go back and taxi Violet back. You may have the time because Gumps is going to reset, so...
That boop also sets up Violet's Bionic Grenade there.
Yeah, that's a really nice play. It's the little things, yeah?
The Dragons. No switches here. They probably realize they have to stay the course now.
Sinatra on Sombra as well now.
I kind of like this. We'll see now if the Dragons are ready for it. He must have read the switch away from the Pharah map. I like that. So here they come. Choyobin is forced to back up a little bit. Ding sitting up here on the point. The Dragons need to take the point pretty much in this fight. There's no other opportunity to do so. Super getting close to a shatter at 70%. Violet also nano boost encroaching. DM stunned up as he tries to push forward. Oh, Bionic Grenade! He's down! The Sombra is gone! And so are the hopes of the Shanghai Dragons now. from getting themselves any more progress on Paris. Bring the hammer down, Super. Doesn't really mind here. And it's just a couple players from Shanghai left. Just the supports. Luffy gets blown into scrap metal, and Kobe never gets to touch the point. That's how the Shock do it. 0 to 100, baby.
I believe you do get a tick on the point there, though. For the Shanghai Dragons, they do make some progress. They make capture progress on the point to about 49%. So the Shock still with a ton of time in the bank. Do you play the Pharah on defense here if you are the Shanghai Dragons? I would say no. It has not worked both times when you ran it on point A. But I think it's a hard spot if you're the Dragons. What do you do? Do you play Sombra? Let's say your Sombra really hasn't worked out. You know that the Shock, if you run the Sombra on D, they're just going to kind of run through you, like get really aggressive. Do you have something in the back pocket, like a Bastion Baptiste setup, like a bunker? But it looks like they're going to go play Ding on Sombra on D here. So Super going to select Widowmaker here.
I hear a very hopeful fan in the front row.
One lonely Shock fan was like, yeah! Excited to see Super on Widowmaker. Everybody else freaking out at home.
Well, he might do it for that.
He's stretching his hands. He's ready to play. Nah, I think what they're probably doing here is maybe you get a shot with the Widow and the Ana onto a Pharah up in the sky, but they're not running it. So they all switch off a bit now.
I wonder how this affects them for the next few maps now. Like the mentality of thinking our Pharah doesn't work. It's supposed to be one of our biggest draws. Like Ding is one of the best in the league at this. Well, off we go.
Moira again. I mean, if they're not going to play a Diva, Moira, you get a ton of value out of it.
Oh god, even more so that there's no Pharah.
Yeah.
All right, Ding has a crack, and I mean, there's not really much for him to do there. He'd rather be trying to hack the Shock from the high ground, but it's far too like Violet can just like right-click in his general direction and stop him from hacking. However, Super still does get hacked as he jumps off.
I mean, he is using a ton of damage, Violet. I mean, every time you've seen him throw in. Because you're just getting look, here goes another damage.
He's getting close too. Oh, it doesn't matter. Deem's already gone down, and yeah, this will be over pretty quickly, guys. Violet making it rain. Okay, Ding. Yep. Yeah, have a nice day. Understood. There it is. The Shock.
How about 26 maps in a row, huh?
So that one was a really good performance from the Dragons. Just record setting there from the Shock, being able to break the Dragons' record to take point A and point B, and then completing the map again in almost record time as well. Crazy half from the Shock. We'll see you guys after halftime.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile, and by State Farm. Whatever life brings your way, State Farm is here to help life go right.
San Francisco Shock fans are elated right now. Welcome to halftime, everybody. Malik here. We got Monty, Cristo, and Bryn. Guys, San Francisco, they're doing their thing. You guys mentioned that Shanghai, if they were going to strike, Oasis was the place to do it at. And it looked like for a second they were possibly going to make it happen. But then, of course, the San Francisco Shock, still dominant, came out with the victory. And here we are, 2-0. How you guys feeling about that first half?
I mean, I think there is maybe a chance on Kings Row that we could see the San Francisco Shock fall and lose that first map of the stage.
Yeah.
But I do agree, like, Oasis was their best opportunity.
I mean, it was the map. Kings Row was the one that Super and Sinatra were commenting on, that they were going to see wacky stuff coming in from the Dragons. So it wouldn't surprise me as well, but still, Shock have just been looking absolutely unreal so far in this half.
They've been looking unbeatable, which, I think warrants the discussion of whether or not they're the best team here in the league. But before we do that, I think you have an Insights powered by Intel.
I do.
This guy does.
Yes. Oh, wow, Monty, you're bringing us the Insights.
Insight, powered by Intel.
Nice.
And yeah, this is going to be an example of why many coaches think that it's not necessarily a great idea to play Sombra 3-3 against aggressive GOATS teams like the Shock or the Vancouver Titans. And part of this is because what Sombra needs is an opportunity to get on a flank to charge EMP. And you'll see here that the Shock really don't give you any time to set up your Sombra, and they're going to carve off the Zenyatta here. So watch Luffy as we go through this, and watch this rotation on the speed boost that we see from San Francisco as they're coming into the point. Now, you'll see they're going to back off and run around the wall, and at this point, low mobility heroes, you have to see the shield bash come in to get the Brigida over, but at this point, there's no Zenyatta. They realize they've split off members of the Shanghai Dragons, and that's when they just collapse onto the Zarya and get that elimination basically instantly. So it's really important that the Shock do this against Sombra compositions. It's harder to do it on control points, but on escort maps, it's much easier, and that's why the Dragons, I think, have a lesser chance of winning escort and hybrid.
This comes down to, as well, what Krusty was talking about when he was on our Watchpoint post show, and he was saying he's trying to coach his players to think more on the fly and be more adaptable and be smarter in the game. That's case in point example right there, in the moment, spotting what they could do to win at that team fight. I mean, it's just fantastic play from San Francisco Shock.
It's such quick thinking. They make the smallest little adjustments that mean so much. And another player who's been doing that quite a bit is Choi Ho-bin. We saw him doing some crazy stuff on Diva, neutralizing the Pharah and her, just a whole bunch of crazy stuff like that.
I mean, getting a lot of eliminations too, especially on control. I think he's been outstanding today.
Indeed. I think we're going to get a look at some of his plays here.
I mean,
this was sick right here.
Right. The crazy thing about Choi Ho-bin is that when you think of these top Diva players in the league, you think of Fury, you think of Meko, you think of Janu, but Choi kind of just falls to the wayside almost a little bit because he's kind of being overshadowed by the rest of the San Francisco Shock because they've got so much talent packed on this roster. We talk about Super, talk about Sinatra a lot, even talk about Rascal and the rest of the support staff, but Choi is kind of like this unsung hero. But he is a fantastic Diva player, and you could honestly make an argument that he is one of the best in the league right now. It's a very difficult sort of argument to make because it's hard to see the impact the Diva players have, but he is unreal and he enables Shock to do a lot.
And for what it's worth, when I was at the Valiant training facility earlier this season, Coach Moon is now no longer with the team, but he was telling me that he thought Choi Ho-bin was as good as Fury. Wow. I'm not sure I'm up to that level, but I do think it's strong praise of a player that we don't talk about a whole lot.
Indeed. Fury considered one of the best Divas in the league, so that's high praise right there. Now, I mean, of course, the stats don't really show all the things that a Diva player can do, and we could talk all about each individual player on the San Francisco Shock, but I want to take the conversation in a different direction. I want to revisit what I was just talking about, and that is whether or not the San Francisco Shock are the best team in the Overwatch League. I think a lot of people could make that argument right now. Are any of you guys in agreement of that right now? The Shock.
Yeah, we can definitely do this.
I will happily defend that argument right now. The San Francisco Shock, I think, are the best team in the league as it stands. Right now, they're on track for a perfect stage so far, not dropping a single map. And you might think maybe that's a little bit less impressive than the Vancouver Titans. I don't think so. I think having the determination, the grit, the sort of mental fortitude to persevere through that and manage to not drop a single map is impressive enough.
I agree, but the Titans also haven't lost since July. This is their meta. They have 6 months more of experience playing a 3-3 composition. They beat the Shock. Shock have had an easy stage. Titans have had one too, but at least they took out Soul a couple of times. They'll come back.
All right. I mean, I think both are very compelling arguments. I mean, it's hard to deny that Vancouver. It's almost been a whole entire year since the last time they lost. It's hard to deny that. But again, the San Francisco Shock on the verge of making history today. And with that, I ask you guys, what can the Shanghai Dragons do to mitigate that from happening? Is there anything they can do to turn this half around?
I mean, I think you mentioned it. There were the crazy Kings Row strats that the Shock were talking about, but at that time, we know that the Shock were actually actively scrimming with the Dragons, so the Shock are going to know what these strats are. So the Dragons are going to have to come up with something new.
Exactly. It's not even a case where they can be caught off guard by this. I mean, DPS comps with Ding, with DM, I mean, that is the bread and butter almost of Shanghai. That's how to get a lot of their wins today. I don't think it's going to work against the San Francisco Shock. They've proven that those comps, they don't work. They can tech them out. They can run the Moira. Even Rascal and the Batiste sometimes as well, having that extra hit scan player available. They're going to be ready for this.
All right, well, we'll see if the Dragons have any tricks up their sleeves. But, guys, we got another half coming up. The San Francisco Shock going for the record books for the most consecutive map wins in the stage. A perfect stage, 28-0. We're going to see if they can do that in just a bit. They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
Shanghai Dragons knew they'd be up against quite a formidable opponent coming into this match. They've watched other teams fall against the Shock. However, now they know what it feels like, Matt. And you know what the interesting part about this matchup is? If the Shock win the next map, or if they get at least 3-1 in this series, not only are the Shock going to be number 1 seed, the Pacific Division, they'll play Shanghai again, first up in the playoffs, as Shanghai will be the 8th seed. So that'll add an interesting dynamic, I think, to this match.
And I would say the Dragons have put up a pretty good fight. I mean, I don't think... Look, I think when the Shock have been dominant, they've been dominant. But it hasn't been like in other matches for the Shock, where they've been outside the spawn, just camping the doors, right? The Dragons, they get 4 points on Paris against any other team that's probably good enough. The Shock just beat their own record 2 times in a row. Control goes down to the final point. So we'll see what the Dragons can get going here on Kings Row. When you think back to that interview that Puckett was doing with Sinatra and Super at halftime. Sideshow was also present, but he was just kind of hanging out. Yeah. You heard the Shock guys say that they're pretty nasty at Kings Row. They have some interesting stuff. We haven't seen it from the Dragons yet, but if you're the Dragons, there's a pretty good chance you're playing the Shock in the first round of the playoffs.
Who are you saving it for now?
Yeah, well, I mean, you're saving it for the people you're playing against. So,
which could be the Shock. Yeah. And again, I guess you could hold it here and then play it then, but
Shock not surprised on defense. Go with Reinhardt. Shanghai, they throw the Immortality Field up here on the high ground. Maybe if there's a Widow on the other side. But,
Yeah, it creates a super slanted situation
here we go.
for the snipers.
Doomfist Widow with a Pharah on offense here for the Shanghai Dragons. So Doomfist we've seen actually get some play here in stage 2. So he goes up to the high ground. This is one way to put some pressure on Xiaobin, who's doing a nice job neutralizing Ding's Pharah.
Gamsu is on the high ground there as well. Looks like they might try and drop down together. I don't know who they're going to go for. Sinatra maybe, but all the supports are pretty well protected. Gamsu. Okay, they just realized Gamsu's actually behind them here. So the Shock now have a couple of difficult decisions to make. Do they move and contest the point? Are they going to expose themselves to someone like Gamsu who is hunting? Or Yongjin? This guy. Yeah, Super didn't know about that one. He just comes up behind him. Yongjin's not able to knock him into a wall though. Now if that rocket punch is just a little bit to the right, you might actually be able to find a kill on Super there and have enough of a self-shield to get away.
And this comes really interesting from the Dragons because, you know, you really want to allow Ding to really pop off on the Pharah. It's really been a big difference maker for you this stage. So what do? You play Widow who can chunk down as, we nano boost Choyobin so you get up in the sky. So what do? You play a Widowmaker who can put shots at Choyobin from range. You don't have to worry about shots as it's going to be the rocket barrage there from Ding DM with a pick. So then you also play Doomfist who doesn't worry about defense matrix, right? Punches right on through. You're just trying to, create some decisions here for Xiaobin. So Violet switches off of Ana, goes over to Moira. This has been a kind of an answer for the Shock. They played some Moira here.
Shokobi not able to stop that barrage. He was busy hunting for Coma and it doesn't really work out. Now look at Ding set this up. Love that. Right off the back of the concussive blast, Matt. So the Shock had no way to respond to that or no time to do so. You wonder if Choyobin doesn't get nano boosted. He isn't off, in a different county and he's actually going to be there to eat up the barrage.
So now a Winston comes into play for the Shock. So Winston Moira. So the Dragons playing really far up. That'll be it sounded like they were going to go for the minefield there, but it looks like they're going to back up. They just use the infra side. So the payload being moved just by one player now.
Objective Can we get that in ranked?
So you just have Coma. There'd never be anybody in the objective camp. You have Coma who's using Valkyrie. So you have Luffy pushing the payload. Coma relying on the Valkyrie to heal everybody push forward.
DM goes down here. Super managed to chase him up. Yongjin mostly forgotten at this point. Although for how long is a real question. Rocket punch doesn't connect.
That was a really nice play from Super. The rocket barrage comes down. They use a nano boost on a Ding. And he jumps up and he puts the bubble over the Pharah using the rocket barrage, and Ding, no choice at that point. I mean, he's stuck inside of the Winston bubble, blows himself up. Really heads up play there from Super.
Huge turnaround. In fact, forcing Ding now. He's going to make the switch over towards the Sombra, so the Dragons have got enough legs out of the Pharah play. Snatcher's going to drop straight on in here and go for a Graviton Surge. This will feed Super's Primal Rage. Sinatra also going to get a bit of ult percentage off the backside of that.
I mean, another thing with not playing D.Va is Sinatra never has to... Sinatra's very aggressive when he wants to use Graph, right? And he never has to worry about it being eaten up by Defense Matrix. Like, never any pressure of, like, trying to figure out where the D.Va is in certain scenarios, right? He knows, like, he sees 3 players use it. Like, there's no counter to it. I mean, they have the support ultimates, right? But not now with the way the fights are going. 4 players for the Shock turn to pressure Ding out of position. Now they're going to probably try and take the fight.
Oh, Super gets in there. Primal Rage, this is what they're looking for. This is how they shut down a Reinhardt-based composition. It's a power spike for the Winston 3-3. The only real time where they kind of dominate a Reinhardt 3-3 and, God, dare I say it, in the neutral. Super is able to get behind them and displace them.
Yeah, they're going to get they're going to get Moth to bring him all the way back, though. They're going to get Reinhardt in the mix. So
this is the Pharah play.
Yeah, so check this out. Here comes the bubble.
Nope.
Right on top.
Oh, that's
perfect. And the timing on that has to be perfect. The timing has to be so good there.
Oh, that's so good. That is so good. Oh, it's so good. All right. Body on the high ground here. Violet with the Coalescence. What a perfect situation when you get a lot of damage. Thing is, the Dragons, they heal up a fair bit of it. But before they have a chance to get Transcendence, they've already lost Yongjin. And now they're going to take more damage because they're all chilling together as they go back to the high ground and will wait the return of their Brigitte.
Seems like the Shock is going to go up to the high ground here.
I can't get that. Was a phenomenal.
Okay, so they're trying to get Sinatra behind potentially for a grab.
Hey, it's your boy with the grab, of course. Transited to the play here. Gumsy goes for a shatter, and Super's trying to take advantage, should I say, of the space that was created. But it's going to be a bit of a struggle for him. The rest of the Shock now is joining the fight, but it was going to be the Graviton here from DM. The Shock push into it, and it works against them. The card has been moving for half of this fight. It's getting all ever closer to the Foundry.
And I wonder if they'll even get another attack at this, as Sinatra pushed all the way back, so he will fall. I don't know if you fight this without Sinatra. Already, look at him and DM used the grab, not that far apart. He's already another one. They're going to fight it. They're going to rally and coalescence. Violet gets hacked during the coalescence, so gets nothing with it.
And that's hard to do, by the way, because Violet, all he has to do is aim in the direction of Ding, and it will stop the hack. Because Ding will take damage. You can't stop the damage coming in from coalescence unless you have a Zarya bubble. And yet, he wasn't able to keep it going. So the Shock, not too upset, Matt. They committed ultimate. They're going to switch anyway. Sinatra still has a Graviton Surge. The Shock definitely want to stabilize here, but they've got an opportunity.
And this is interesting. So now you're going to have Rascal, instead of playing Brigitte, he will play Ana.
Okay.
So you get to see Rascal, a damage dealer in the past. He plays Brigitte. He'll now play Ana. We see him on Batiste. We've seen him on Roadhog this series. A lot of different hero looks for Rascal thus far. Young Jin may have forgotten where he was standing on the map. Falls off. Don't know if that was assisted or just a little bit of a walk in the wrong direction here.
Let's give him the
benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, because he already got slain for the Shang 9 meme on Dorado against Dallas. So hey, Ding's back. He's EMP as well. Oh, Violet. Yeah, he just crumples awfully fast. Transcendence here for the Shanghai Dragons will help them a little bit, but that's a lot of ultimates out of them. 3, in fact. Ding hoping to get closer to yet another EMP, but more importantly, it's DM having a Graviton Surge to hold on to. Sinatra as well.
Yeah, and they're going to have to come out of multiple spawn doors here, the Shock, to get a touch. So you're going to get close to a nano boost here. You have your self-destruct. Like if they use Grav, right, you can use your self-destruct to just prevent that follow-up. Super gets hacked from up
High
top.
ground is so good for Sombra, man. Ding's able to really shut Super down now, but he has a shatter. Tricobin going to self-destruct here just to get the mech back. Does Super go for a shatter here? No, keeps the shield up very clever. Go for one now though if he wanted to. Oh, he doesn't have a chance. He gets stunned up out of it. Nicely played by Yongjin. It's like he knew Super was going to go for a counter shatter. That EMP catches 5 people, but not Violet. He's still able to get the Transcendence off here. Tricobin's trying to work in the back, but he gets hacked once more. He was trying to deal with Luffy, but he gets shut down by Ding. Can't get closer. Moth standing on it, but the Shock are running out of players here. Tricobin takes to the skies and then back down. Super now returns on the Wrecking Ball. If they can get this into overtime, that's huge. The Shock have done that now. If San Francisco can now finish on their attacking side, the Dragons won't have their own chance to have a second attack. That is big. Getting it done in overtime. The Dragons look good. Some creativity here on King's Row. The Doomfist in the compositions was so. But hey, they get the map done. Shouldn't be too upset. We'll be back in just a moment.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Well, the Shanghai Dragons finish. They're attacking around on King's Row, albeit with no time left in the bank, which is a cause for concern against the Shock. However, Yongjin here, just after appearing to walk off the map, he really lifts up his game in the later parts of that attacking round.
Yeah, he makes a big play. We can check it out here. So, Super. It's going to be when he's going to go for the Earth Shatter here. So, I'll catch it for a second.
Great.
Beautiful reaction time there.
And that was not random because it's definitely a reaction to the voice line. Not uncommon to see teams who get caught in the Graviton Surge shatter the team that's trying to follow up on that. So well read.
What do the Shock go with? Super probably going to play Reinhardt here. I think you can keep the Baptiste. We've seen them do that in the past. I think on King's Road especially. Really good sight lines for him to put down some damage at range.
Also, a Fire Strike through an Ant Matrix is insta-kill for many of Shanghai's heroes.
I tell you what, I mean, if you don't have like a Transcendence or something to get through, well, they switch over to Brigitte, but you could use the Immortality Field, right, to combat something coming through with the EMP.
I don't think it's that complicated, Matt. I think they just run of them here. We probably shouldn't insert too much where it's quite straightforward, really, for the Shock. Another day at the office. Very charged up Sinatra on the point here. Just trying to launch Super into the Dragons. Moth low, though, got hacked up. Chocoban also looking pretty average here, and despite all of his charge, Sinatra has not been able to find a critical blow. Cobra down, and there it is. He finally found it. Sneaks around at left-hand side and isn't able to be punished for it. EMP. Yeah, I mean, Transcendence already came out from Violet, but he leaves Super at Chocoban. Violet gets out. Maybe worried about his backline who got hacked, but that ain't it.
Yeah, I mean, well, if he stays on the point, he's probably as dead as them. I think maybe there you needed the tanks to back up just a little bit after that EMP came through. So you do get a really early Transcendence from Violet, but he ends up falling in the end, and you can't really capitalize on that early pick-off of Coma. So some ultimates here on the board for the Dragons. See what the Shock decide to do. It'll be a grab from both sides here.
Gamsu has Shatter. Doesn't go for it. Super just keeps his shield straight up. The Transcendence now is forced out of the Dragons, and the Shock are probably happy enough with that in and of itself.
I mean, I think you kind of play the odds of Sinatra getting another grab. A really nice shatter there from Gamsu to the side of Super's shield.
That's just the straight out play from Gamsu there.
Oh, yeah.
Super attempts to shield his down teammates, but with Gamsu just swinging his hammer, there's not a thing he can do. So you wait that out, you deal with that. The Shock realize they made a mistake in the first team fight, and that manifests now in that second team fight loss. And here is where they really need to make things happen. Transcendence for Violet, Super Shatter.
Yeah, what I like there from Gamsu as well is after he hits the Shatter, he keeps his shield up because he knows Super has Shatter and doesn't want his whole team to get Shatter on the way in.
Most Reinhardts would just try and get as much damage as they can after the fact. Violet, Transcendence still gets it there despite the EMP coming in, but the Shock need to get the fight done. This is a repeat of what happened in the first fight, and they'll have a sound barrier to follow it up. It takes both support ults to get through, but it works well. Shanghai, honestly, one of the most effective teams at running, triple support with the Sombra. I'd say Soul are up there as well. The Shock finally find a way to break in, despite getting EMP'd twice already.
So we'll see, though, what kind of value they get with Sombra in the Streets phase. I think the Streets phase is really where you need the extra damage and the damage mitigation of having a D.Va in play. So Rascal with a rally. You could open up with rally. Probably get to grab out from Diem. Trying to use in the choke here.
Yeah, use it as soon as you can, I'd say. Just don't throw it in. Oh, Diem's got to be careful now. It is out of the position. You got to go, and Violet picks him off down range. Yes, the Shock lose Super in this fight, but he falls the Transcendence, and they take the Graviton off the table. Sinatra now has a chance to use his, but the sound barrier comes in. The Dragons are forced to use both of their big support ultimates, but Violet's got one of his own, and the fight continues now. The Shock push up against the Dragons. Shanghai have to feel bad. They give up the choke, and they use two of their most important support ults. Ding has to salvage this now with an EMP. Or will he? Yes, he's going to go for it, and the Dragons need to use this to stabilize, otherwise they could be in deep trouble. 6 players caught by that one. If you don't win the fight here, I don't know what to tell you. Nicely executed.
I tell you what, who's having a really good map? Luffy on the Zenyatta. I think, we've talked on the few series we've done with the Dragons, but he's looked really good in the flex support role. Right now, getting a Transcendence every 57 seconds to Violet's a minute and 9. And we talk about, Violet is one of the best Zenyatta's in the league. So Luffy playing a really strong game here, where I think for me personally, I think one of the strongest things about the Dragons is this support core of Luffy and Coma.
There's 3 deaths here. 3 eliminations. Earth Shatter, Super. Well, he gets Coma. That might be enough here. He does get hacked up during that, but he's still able to get the hammer down. Okay, Graviton doesn't yield too much here. Sinatra is the pick. Nice shielding up by Super there, and here comes a self-destruct. Can the Dragons get away from this one? They're forced inside the tavern here, and now they're trying to burst forth and get some use out of this Transcendence. Super. Oh, he's caught in a back alley against the entirety of the Dragons. I wouldn't exactly call that a fair fight. Odds are against him. And Violet goes for a Transcendence, but wasn't able to reach Super and keep him alive. Man, this map streak for the San Francisco Shock, it's in a balance right here.
And you can still push this payload a little bit if you're the Shock. You don't have Super right now, but you have Rascal, you have Sinatra here, you have the Graviton Sword. He's going to use it from a distance. You don't have a ton of damage, but now Super charges right back into the fight. So you have that nice for cleanup. And I think in an emergency situation for the Shock there, you did have Sound Barrier, but you're just waiting for Ding to use these EMPs before you invest that support ultimate.
I wonder if Ding's tracking Moth at the moment. It depends, like if he's hacked it recently and sort of seen if there's a tick above him or not, but you kind of want to play around a Sound Barrier sometimes. You want to sort of EMP a little bit later, but sometimes you don't have a choice.
This map for the Shock's going to come down to the wire. EMP here, Sound Barrier, Grav for the Dragons.
Shatter.
Oh, and he gets DM as well.
The Grav player is stunned, but Ding gets to pick himself back up.
Yeah, fortunate he lived through that.
Yeah, Ding might have been able to fake something there with a translocator across the top of the fight. Super. Oh yeah, you'll get charged. Oh, nicely done. Good shielding. But Rascal now is the one that's going to get caught out. EMP catches too, but Moth gets the Sound Barrier now. Super knows he has to charge in, try and fix this one, but he's too low. Again, a charge like that across the map, it's always a huge risk and rarely does it pay off. So the Shock forced the Dragons to dig deep into the pocket. A lot of ultimates came out as a result.
For the Dragons. I mean, you would have liked to have another fight here where you win it clean for the Dragons and put them with about a minute to get it around the corner and over the line, but self-destruct, Grav, Rally, Transcendence, everything on the board here. Oh! Nice shatter, but they're not going to be able to get the follow-up.
Sinatra has the Graviton Surge as well, so he's probably just going to wait out this Transcendence and let it go. Yeah, pretty good timing there. Team already went over the edge, and now the rest of them are going to get crunched as they're sat back in the corner. Remember, drawing this match is not an option for the Shanghai Dragons. They need to win it outright. There aren't enough maps left in the series for them to get back in.
And the shatter was good from Gamsu. You just were not able to get much follow-up there. Youngjin does get one, but it's not enough. Shatter, self-destruct into the corner.
Gamsu can't help his team right now, and he himself goes down. Nothing he could do. The San Francisco Shock, they finished King's Row and they had time in the bank, which means the Dragons, they cannot win this map now. Draw is the best they can hope for, and even that won't be enough to give them the series. Looks like that golden stage looking more and more likely for the Shock. Correction, the Shock only finished with 59 seconds. So if they had, it could have been different, but the Dragons have time. So they still can do work on this map, can still win it out. Just to make that one clear for everybody. Still, they have half the time to work with. Here's that first pick. I think it's Moth getting rid of DM. Oh my gosh, look how charged he was as well.
Yep, later. And then Moth actually gets on the wall here above, the shield, and he's able to do some work there to the grabbed players. So the Dragons on offense, they use the Immortality with the double sniper up top. Coma goes over to Mercy, so they're going to roll out the same thing. The Widowmaker, Doomfist, Pharah composition here.
Remember, a draw breaks the streak for the Shock.
Yeah.
Officially.
All the pressure's on the Shock. I mean,
Yongjin is looking. 1 tick of permanent progress on the point now. Troikobin playing in that back right corner, does not want to commit to the point too heavily, but now the Dragons look like they're going to get another one. Okay, Mutu knockdown, that's big. Yes! See, what does he go for? He goes for the charge during the rocket punch, I guess. That's how they get it done. Well, fair enough, it works out. I think you're happy with a mutual knockdown between a Reinhardt and a Doomfist. But DM on the Widowmaker has been able to find Rascal, and he's got a pretty comfortable spot to play from here. Troikobin doesn't seem to be confident pushing out, and now DM can really get in position. Misses an important shot on Violet. If he had that, it could have been over here and now. There it is. Sonata goes down. Gumsy traded out, though. Super is very low on health, and Moth is missing. Binding grenade catches on the Violet. He can't even heal himself with his own nade, let alone anyone else. And the Shanghai Dragons look good here. They look real good. Troikobin dealt with. And the Dragons, they're in it still.
We go into overtime, though. They kind of have to almost stay on this, though. I know in overtime, you need to use these ultimates. They're going to do the same thing they did the last time. Lufio moved the payload. As Koma has Valkyrie. Exact same situation they were in last time. They move up. If it gets scary, they use the Valkyrie, provide that AoE healing to everybody.
Ding giving it some room here. The shot trying to pour out as fast as they can. Power drive from Gamsu, making it a little bit harder for them to move out as a unit. And yo, get that objective camp. Check it out. Here comes the barrage in. Nicely done. Well counted out. But it doesn't matter. Gamsu gets a minefield, gets himself two. The Shanghai Dragons. That was not a close fight in the end. Despite Troikobin being in position to shut things down, it doesn't work.
And this is not good for the Shock. Now the streak's on the line, right? I know that it's not over, but they're only a minute and 59 in their time bank. Really good progress made here for Shanghai.
The Dragons have infrasight now. So if there were any changes the Shock made, they know it. And now Yongjin gets to set up, knowing where people are going to be positioned. This is almost a guaranteed kill for him. And there it is. Violet is down. He picked a Moira for the sake of safety. But there's no escaping Yongjin, especially when he knows where you are already. He gets shield bashed by Rascal. He will go down here. The sound barrier for the Shock here. They're trying to make do with just 4 players left. Over the top, it's Luffy down. Yongjin is brought back to life here. He's got a lot of work to do, but DM opens up the account admirably. Deals with Super. Troikobin on the payload, trying to keep it contested. It's just him, though, and Yongjin has a bit of a pocket. Attending the seismic slam on towards the enemy. Brigitta is low, and they are forced off finally. That could have gotten way out of hand for the Shock. Kind of did, really, if you think about it.
I mean, they got to beat it now, though, to keep this streak going. They take the point, and then they move it to basically taking point B. So, a minute and 59, not a lot of time. It took a little bit for the Shock's offense to get going on their last offense. Also, with how much the Dragons play Sombra, you figure eventually they get an EMP within the, a minute and 59. And how do you get through that fight? So this will be really interesting for the Shock, how they go and play this offense.
It's kind of crazy, right? It feels like the atmosphere in here is like they're on the brink of losing your series. Like, it feels like that's what they're fighting for. But in reality, they're just fighting to keep their perfect streak intact. The Dragons are the ones that are just trying to stay alive in this series, really. But as it stands now, the Dragons can still win this map. If the Shock are unable to push as far as they, it would be 2-1 and a chance for Shanghai to make Mac 5 if they win the next.
And then imagine, like, if you're the Shock, right? With how close the Dragons have played you today, and the stuff they could work on in the week coming into the playoffs, if this is a first-round matchup. It's a very scary first-round matchup for the Shock or anybody, right? I mean,
a team that knows them quite well. The Shock, we really need to point out how remarkable it would be to have a perfect stage. They don't play every team in the league. They only play 7. But still, very, very hard to come out with that with a perfect score. The Shock just doing it for the sake of completeness. Now, Sonata doesn't want to be there at all. Hasty self-barry there, and he's getting healed up nicely. Violet is on the Moira, so there's a lot more healing capacity than this composition would otherwise feature, and DM is way out of position. Oh, this is very good for San Francisco now. Sonata does not want to give Shanghai a chance to regroup and set up, but he doesn't want to overextend.
And he wants to push up because when you get that kill on a DM, he gets a huge advantage in terms of getting the Graviton Surge. So,
and that will be a way to snowball the next fight as well.
Yeah, that's a way to get through the EMP, right? As Ding does get low here, as he's farming the EMP rather quickly.
The only thing that prevents him, I think, from going forward is that Yongjin was lurking. A shield bash, a Discord orb on Sinatra, he would be dead instantly. Ding has an EMP as well. There it is. Oh, that wasn't really what I was looking for. He already got Moth there.
Oh, that's so early.
No.
You have a minute.
Of all times for things to go wrong, it was now. Sinatra's going to push forward here. Remember, no diva for the Shanghai Dragons, so Sinatra's job is 100 times easier than it otherwise would be, but he holds it. They already got rid of Gamsu. They know they can win this fight without him, and with Luffy going down, Yongjin playing very close and ultimately going to fall. The San Francisco Shock have everything they need to win this map. 3-0 in the series, guarantee their victory in the Pacific Division, and also keep that clean sheet.
So for the Shock, coming up next, final fight here to keep the streak alive. Rally, grab, shatter, self-destruct, a lot of good ultimates for the Shock. I mean, this is their streak to keep going, right? I mean, they lose this fight, it's kind of all on them.
I don't know what to tell them if that happens. Here comes the Graviton Surge immediately in. Gamsu trying to go for an Earth Shadow shutdown. Sinatra gets him, bomb behind, and gets Luffy! He's down! So is Koman now. The Dragons are down to just Yongjin in terms of their healing, and they just have to keep pressing W, keep going forward. But it looks like they've found the end of the road. Ding drops to the ground now to try and keep it stalled out, but the San Francisco Shock are sailing home, and they will be 3-0 in this series.
Hey,
Either way, they'll be 7-0 this stage.
Look at Super on stage. He is going absolutely nuts. Hyping the team up. You see the Dragons not happy. They have clinched the Pacific Division there with that win. They keep that streak alive.
We're back after the break for the last map in this series. Again, still, they're going to be looking to try and keep it all going. But having that first seed in the Pacific Division, that means a heck of a lot. Cool, calm, and collected. The job is far from done.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. The official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everybody. Danny Lim here. The San Francisco Shock are up 3-0 over the Shanghai Dragons. They have already won this match and are undefeated, but they still need one more map to go 28-0 and to pull off the perfect stage. I asked Coach Krusty if the team felt pressured for that golden stage, and he told me, quote, "No, because we haven't lost in scrims for the past 8 weeks," end quote. They have one more map to go, so let's see if they could pull off the history. Mitch and Matt, back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Danny. I mean, that's big talk, but I mean, if you scrim in the University of Waterloo every day, then...
Another record here for the Shock, the first team that's converted scrim bucks into actual wins. So just breaking records left and right. That's awesome to see.
I mean, yeah, but we need to see him go up against the Titans. We want to see him go up against the Spitfire again. I think that will still be an interesting match. I mean, New York, if that were even possible. It's a clash of styles. I want to see these things. And then I'll start calling them the greatest team. I will do it, I promise.
The Dragons have played them really... I mean, look how close the series is, just in terms of, like, you know, score lines. 2-1 on Oasis, 5-4, 5-4. You know, it comes down like to the wire in a lot of these matches. So we'll see how it goes on Rialto. Rialto is one where triple tank, triple sword's really strong. Like even stronger than like all the other maps.
Super was just going ham at the end of that.
Oh
yeah. He was definitely getting his team gassed up. I think you did mention that.
You know what?
Before the break. Say it.
At least you know where he stands, right? Like he wants it bad, right? So at least you know you get all that emotion out there. You know, you know with how him and Sinatra kind of got thrown into it last year, and it didn't really go their way. To come in this year and just start, you know, taking names, I'd be extremely fired up as well.
I mean, the Shock, they're not just got some lofty goal of one day winning a title or a stage playoff. They don't have the hope that the other team will have fun while they're playing. They're here to win, and they're here to win now.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you asked the Shock, they thought that they were the better team in stage 1. At the end of stage 1, when those finals happened, that they were the better team, and they let that match go 100% to Vancouver.
I actually messaged a Super on Twitter. I was like, it was like 2 a.m. I'm like, man, I can't sleep. That game was so hyped. And we had a long chat, and he definitely thought that they should have won that game. It sort of fell apart for them at the end. But
and I think you're seeing that belief turn into, you know, that they're coming out clutch in a lot of these moments now, right? Like
that's a triple
different
Bionade.
team. Yeah, huge Bionade.
This is what we see Violet do sometimes with the Shock. Not all the time, but when he plays forward, if there is high ground, I guess, you know, on defensive maps like this, we will see Violet come forward and try and, you know, throw a biotic grenade either behind or over the top of the attacking Reinhardt's shield. And you saw what it did there. It stopped the Dragons dead in their tracks. Luffy Coma and Yongjin were all biotic grenaded.
Yes, you know, the Shock have come in here today, and you know, Krusty, phenomenal game plan. They have planned for this Pharah play that has come out for the Dragons. They clearly have figured out a way around it. Luffy takes out Moth at the beginning here, use the nano boost on the Super, trying to get right up in Gamsu's face. He does end up falling. Ding's going to use Barrage here, so a ton of ultimates used. Sinatra's going to get out, or at least try to, with his charge. May not make it, but...
No, that was extremely well played by Gamsu. Fantastic response. He realized that Super was getting nano boosted purely to be kept alive, and at that point he realized that he had a chance to make the play.
You'll get another fight here, though, as you did end up using your Earth Shatter. Ding actually takes out Violet at range, so you're going to fight this right as Super goes in with the Shatter, Ding over the top, knocks them all to the river. He's trying to like, guys, where's the follow-up?
Well,
come on, man.
Come on, look, I appreciate the sentiments. So just watch what happens here. The payload's still a little bit away at this point. Super has enough time to get across the bridge, but
I'm gonna shatter, guys. I'm gonna shatter.
Moth over. Sometimes you just gotta go for it. See you in Valhalla, bro.
All the supports gone.
All right, so they keep the grab at least. The Shock.
Really good time for the Dragons right now.
All right, the Shock have a great chance here to use these corners. If they get sort of shelled out by Ding, it's not going to go well for them at all. They really need to be able to get a good grab and keep the stall happening around this corner. Ding, who's he looking for? Looks like Violet at this stage, who's been able to avoid him thus far. Ding takes a bit of damage from some orbs, and so be careful. All right, drops it over the top there. Troy Hoban. Okay, that's pretty good, actually. He responds a little bit late, but I mean, that's kind of what you expect. He's still able to help keep Moth alive, who has a sound barrier, but the Shock, I don't know, man. They're forced into a fighting retreat. Sinatra's probably not going to keep his charge here either, and San Francisco. Was the celebration at the end of last map a little bit too premature if they're trying to keep the streak? Do they even care about the map streak, by the way? Like,
I think they do. I think they do. I mean, you as much as you say you don't, I feel like you still kind of do. Is that Ding takes out Choyobin here on the cart, super alive. He's going to get the repair pack, but doesn't live much longer than that. Everybody on the Shock backs up. I would love to see, though, like, right, we've kind of, talked about this streak. They lose to Vancouver in the Stage 1 finals on this map after they complete the map, and then Vancouver comes and steamrolls them.
Breaks a record.
It would be fitting for them to lose here, to have them complete the map, and then just run rampant through the other side. Do what Vancouver did to them to keep the streak alive. That would be awesome.
Need to see some energy now from Shock. Later. See you, DM. Choyobin eats that one up. That's what Amiga Diva will do for you, by the way. Super, though, goes down. See what the Transcendence is able to give the Shock some survivability by the looks of things. Also a sound barrier used in the rally, so all 3 support ultimates used by the Shock in this fight. They felt like they'd lost their grip on this game, and they managed to reclaim it here. And that, what is it? Their second one team fight of this half.
Yeah, I mean, you get Ding off of Farah now, but I mean, if they don't win that fight, you're looking at potentially, because Diem's got Grab. I mean, he's already up about halfway. You're looking at an extended fight on the point at the end there, where you think the Dragons have the advantage, and you're staring down like a 2-minute and 30-second time bank and a map completion for the Dragons. That is as good of a guaranteed loss as you can get.
Oh, Super's in trouble. Sinatra was hacked. He couldn't give Super the bubble that he needed. Great timing from Ding. The Dragons knew they could go aggressive on the front line because Gamsu had a huge advantage, having his Zarya able to give him shielding. What a great play.
And the Shock hightail it all the way to the spawn. So they'll get to come out here, fight one last time.
Gamsu was trying to bait Shatter, I'm sure of it. Push up against Super, see if he can pressure his mental state out a bit. Right, there it is. Shatter comes out, Rascal just blocks it. All right, Super gets DM here. Transcendence, though, is just going to be thrown over him. Here comes the Graviton Surge. The Shock need to get some value out of this one here. Violet's Transcendence helps a lot. And the Shock hold the Dragons off.
An eternity, though, in terms of the clock. And the Dragons will have Rally, Grav, and a EMP. The last grab used from DM eaten up by Chayobin. Cannot let that happen again.
I mean, there's a sense of inevitability about them getting EMP'd on this point. Ding will have it in this fight.
A lot of areas to hide here, though.
Behind pillars and such.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, you can play Super out there on the card alone and spread out.
As long as Sinatra is able to avoid EMP and give him a bubble, otherwise we'll have the same issue as the previous fight. Grab comes out there. DM did note that Trickoven was standing behind them, but no, that should be pretty solid. The Shock get dominated in this fight. And the EMP pretty much sets it up for them here. Sinatra really won't be able to touch at all, and decent time indeed by the Dragons. Having some of the bank, definitely better than none at all in here. And a minute 36 on the clock still. The challenge has been issued to the Shock. If you want to keep your house clean and your sheet clean, do us one better.
Hey, you know, Titans did it to them. Why can't they do it to the Dragons, right? So, you know, it'll be interesting to see. You know, the Dragons get like a, you know, with a map like Rialto, where you see a lot of like these holds early on in the map, you get 1 or 2 fights in your favor if you're the Dragons early. Like, the clock starts to dwindle down. Like, you know, there are some tough points to push through. You know, and then let alone complete. Like, a lot of teams even don't get the full completion. Like, they get, like, right to the end, and it kind of falls apart. So, this will be a huge comeback for the Shock. I mean, we just talked about how they stepped it up in clutch time. I mean, this is a moment for them, right?
Look,
Step it up.
This map kind of caters to these 3-3 comps quite heavily. It's a maze of corners and high ground for defenders. You drop down. But we've seen a couple different, you know, approaches on this map before. We've seen the Philadelphia Fusion like to play a Winston-based defense here and sort of play that, you know, very towing the line kind of defense where they dive on, you know, vulnerable targets or just drop down on top of them, then use their jump pack cooldown to get out.
I mean, you know they're going to play Sombra Goats and D.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's... you would not see Farah on defense here, I don't think. Because there's like way too much high ground and you get close. Everybody can get close to Farah.
It's a bit gimmicky, really, as well.
If it works, who cares? I think there's a reason like really good 3-3 teams can beat like Sombra Goats teams. So, there goes Coma. That was incredibly quick.
Yeah.
Don't know where he was playing, but looks like he may have gotten stunned up by Rascal and then taken out by Super. But now you don't have the speed boost to back everybody out, so you have to back out a little bit earlier than you would like because you can't afford another person to drop.
Yeah. Shock had to be careful though. The speed boost back in could be quite dangerous now, as Coma should say. Is rejoining break. Coma's done again. He's low. Gamsu also getting chunked right on down. The Dragons don't have the healing to sustain this kind of fight now. Not after the first bouts of damage that they've actually been hit by. Luffy very close to a Transcendence, though. Can he get it in time? That's the question. Coma knocked to the ground. Can he be finished? Oh, Transcendence is now available for Luffy, and he uses it straight away. Coalescence from the Shock here. It's most likely just to keep Super alive. Oh, EMP comes in, but now Graviton Search on Sinatra, and they call Luffy Ding. Moth is going to go down here. Gumsu looking to wreck the backline, but Violet is giving too much healing on this Moira.
And you know, like I mentioned, you needed, like, if you had the Dragons and you had like 1 or 2 fights early that went your way, you're looking good. And look at this, Luffy. They don't see Ding because he's invisible, but he'll get out. So, you know, now you start to get the clock in your favor here. If you're the Shock, you start to get rolling.
I mean, Violet at 43% of healing done right now. The Shock, so Moira definitely helping out. Obviously, it wasn't just Moira he played on the last half, but you can see what it offers you. It's very hard to pin a Moira down as well, unless you literally do that with Reinhardt. She can
escape grab with the Fade as well. Nice shatter.
So when does that ever work? That's insane. Gumsu drops down behind. Note that he doesn't go for the shatter until he's already touched the ground. So he doesn't just like descend slowly whilst making the voice line, which is a mistake some people have seen them make before.
Taking pages out of Bumper's book.
Who was it yesterday that did that on Paris?
Oh, yeah, we saw one the other day. It was ridiculous.
Was it Raw? No, not sure. Or was it Gamsu? It was Gamsu. It was Gamsu. Just being a real bloke.
EMP here. We'll see if Ding can get a better one. He didn't even connect with Sinatra last time when he had grab. And they were able to get it off, so you had no follow-through on it.
Graviton here. Violet going for the coalescence. Wonder how much longer he's going to stay on this Moira, but at this rate, healing looks pretty darn good. Crack back on the Shatter Super, just hoping that someone was standing. And again, using the cart to try and break line of sight and make it harder to see him going for that one. Okay, this is a pretty good placement here for a self-destruct. And Gamsu's knocked out of the way. Choi Hyobin with the home run.
And you don't even think about like using the EMP to engage or anything like that to start the fight off, and you end up holding on to that ultimate. You're gonna have Moth go back, bring Sinatra into the fight. So you get this point here if you're the Shock. This is winnable.
EMP now. 4 people caught by one. Sound barrier still comes out from Moth. Great response, but Super could still get taken down. He's clinging to life somehow. He's hanging in there, and he has an Earth Shatter. Oh, come on! Oh, it's a burial at sea there for Gumsu, but he takes one with him. Still, though, it's going to be that second checkpoint coming up here for the Shock, and they have a lot of time in the bank.
So, man, this would be a crazy time where the Dragons have given the Shock such a good match. But, like, when the Dragons need to come up big on D, it's like you need to be able to play a standard 3-3 with the D.Va in play. I think you can only go so far playing this comp.
Super. Too quick there with that right click. Shield was up. Here comes a Graviton Surge. So now Shattering. There it is. Great response from Super. Graviton and Shatter both using the same fight. The Dragons get nothing out of them. Super now. Oh, he's mad. He's so mad.
Like, there is a reason everybody pretty much plays a variation of what the Shock have. As you see Sinatra with the beam just looking for Ding here. No, he's the only one that gets touched. Gets stunned up real quick.
Brilliant. That is solid stuff from the San Francisco Shock. They finished the map here, Rialto, with vastly more time in the bank, once more than the Dragons. And I'm talking like 3 minutes, 39 seconds on the clock to 1:36. An extra 2 minutes should be a 4-0 here for the Shock. A golden stage hangs in the balance. All right, have a look at this composition from the Shock, Matt. Rascal on the Roadhog here as we head into extra time. Is it like are you going to play Sombra? I'm going to hook you. What are your thoughts?
No, let's go with the, let's get right up close to the spawn door.
Oh, no. Is this where you really...
Good old Shock special.
Is this where you go for the bad flex?
Yeah, why not?
I love San
playing
Francisco,
you're
man.
Playing my house money now, why not?
These guys are the best. I just want to see some disrespect, you know? All right, they're going to play up close here, pushing out straight away. Now the Dragons, they are not ready for this at all. Oh, Luffy. Yeah, you've received a formal invitation to join the Shock at their banquet, but you're on the menu.
was about to say he lived, and then he died very shortly. I think it was a nice. I think it was a nice whip shot to like knock them back, but not enough. Well, now what do you do with Ding's Farah? Like where can he get like line of sight? Like look, he has to go shoot through the doorways. Like that's not ideal.
And he has to be so careful.
Yeah, he has to be so careful.
I like the Doom Fist here from Youngjin. But Super's like, yo, your payload, my payload, my payload. Youngjin, I guess he looks for Rascal here into the water. No, misses. That's not ideal. The Super's gone down.
Grenade, yeah, take him
Super's
out.
gone down. Oh, Youngjin taken down. It's 1-for-1 trade here, but Shock are missing their main tank, so they have to hang around. They do have to double down in this fight, no matter who they lose, but Moth and Choi Hyobin get by the Grenadier, and a nice recall time from DM to get out of the way of Rascal's scrutiny.
Still have Moira in the mix though, and Roadhog.
Oh, they forced a barrage here.
It's nice. I mean, yeah, you get them
That's
to use
30
the
seconds.
barrage.
I mean, they get another fight here, definitely.
One fight and that's it. I wonder, does Rascal? Yep, Rascal goes Brig, so you got what you wanted. Now you have the Brigitte for the Tracer and the Doom Fist. Moira will build up this Coalescence rather quickly.
Ding has to push ahead here.
You get one fight under the choke. Sinatra has, you'll build up Grav, right? And they have to play. It's not an area where they can spread out.
All right, well, Gumsu, he's still on the wrecking ball here. He's close to a minefield. That kind of space control could be important. All right, 3 players get body grenaded here. Oh, the bomb! Oh, could be nasty. No, just Choi Hyobin. He gets these shooters, sure enough. But DM's still got more work to do in this fight. Super goes for the shadow there. Gumsu knocked down. Youngjin trying to follow up, but he also is knocked to the ground. He's still alive. Now goes for the Meteor Strike. Fighter blown up there despite having the sound barrier on him. And Youngjin's going to knock Rascal into the air. He gets himself another. DM, the only casualty there for the Shanghai Dragons, so they will get this point. There's nothing the Shock could do to stop them.
So Shock are going to try and back out. Oh, they're going to grab with Coalescence Heroes.
They're trying to stabilize, Matt. They realize now with this aggressive, highly mobile composition from the Dragons that they may never have a chance to set up like this again. Troy does not want to be sleeping here, but Concussive Blast was just used by Ding, so he doesn't have to worry about being in the drink. But Luffy gets the pick off here. The Shock are now, they're starting to play a bit of crazy Overwatch. They want to end this here. Overtime.
Both support's dead.
DM looking for a pulse bomb here. Oh, great bubbles of Sinatra and Rascals there with a shield bash. What a huge performance. Super playing on top of the payload, so there's no wall to knock him into. That's very clever. Youngjin knows he has 0 options there. And the Dragons get a little bit further than the Shock had hoped for, but not much.
It's a really risky play, but in those types of scenarios, you got to try and make a play, right? Sinatra makes one, uses the grab behind him, they use the Coalescence, and it's really like a 3-on-3 in that moment in time where you know that the Dragons have to keep at least like 1 player on the cart, which is Luffy, so he's not really providing any healing. Comb is in the sky healing up Ding. You get some kills off of that grab, Super comes right back into the mix, and you're able to hold in the end. But if that doesn't turn their way, I mean, that gets ugly pretty quick.
Even the greatest teams in the Overwatch League are not known to be able to finish a stage without losing a map, but the Shock are very close now.
So the Dragons had no defense last time. They lost Coma early.
Yep.
They cannot have a player drop first, especially with the composition they're running. Like if it's like a support, that's really bad. If it's Sombra, it's almost even worse. It's the only thing you're really worried about if you're the Shock. Especially if you get the Sombra out of the way. You never have to think about her hacking behind you. You literally just run. You get right at them, and you're able to push the cart all the way the distance.
The Shock now have 3 minutes and 39 seconds to get just past that first checkpoint. The payload's just in the middle of the bridge. It's not very far by this map standards, but teams have been snarled up right here where Sinatra's standing. Plenty of times before. Bing is trying to get a hack, so much so that the Dragons actually give him a Zarya bubble. They really wanted him to try and do something there.
Well, that's how they need that to engage. I mean, they need the hacks to engage on this.
They have to drop the Gamsu. They're getting split off already. The Dragons have to reconvene here. But they're 4 wins they're spread across this point. They've been able to get a few set up here in this middle courtyard. Super takes a big hit. Ding is very low. I don't know what he can really be getting.
They're pressuring Gamsu so hard.
Gamsu's forced into the corner. How does he get away? Super might just catch him with a fire strike as he tries to go past. Ding, not all that close. And there it is. DM goes down. Violet finds a Zarya. The most important pick is Super. Brings the hammer down, and that will bring the curtain down.
And these players drop so late They're going to get the
They're
far
the back
spot.
spawn. They're the back
going to
spawn.
get the far spot.
Normally you want this, but not when you have to play on the bridge. There's really no chance for the Dragons here to actually touch the payload at all. Ding running for his life, desperately trying to sprint across the map, and he has to reveal himself to contest the payload, and he does so just for a brief moment, but no one else is there. It's over. The San Francisco Shock completes the golden stage. They do not drop a map. They do not drop a series. And I have to say, we may never see this again in the Overwatch League. It is a true feat, to be sure. And this is a team who doesn't care if they're already up 3-0. They're there to win. They're there to send a message. They're there in the pursuit of excellence.
It is so hard, I think. I don't think people understand to come in here every game day and not drop a map, not just a series, to have that level of like intensity, preparation, focus for each game. Like we see Vancouver, they dominate, they've been winning like 16 in a row, right? They still drop maps. This is a crazy performance this stage from the Shock. They should be extremely proud of this.
This is what happened when a team invests in sort of year two or in its future, and a fan base believes in the vision that they create. It's such a pleasure to see the Shock achieve such results, but there's more to be done for them. However, let's head now down to the floor with Rascal and Danny.
Mitch and Matt, thank you very much, everybody. Give a round of applause for Rascal and San Francisco Shock for job well done. They have done it. The perfect stage is theirs. Rascal, congratulations. 너무나 축하드리고요. And I know that you've had some rough time with the Dallas Fuel last year, but with San Francisco Shock, you have made history. How does it feel to get that 28-0? 자, 방금 말씀했다시피 너무나 축하드리고요. 퍼펙트 스테이지 좀 28승 0패인데 좀 소감 어떠신가요? 좀 느낌이 어떠신가요? You know what? I'll give it to him. They made history today. Here, take my mic.
Okay. So
마이크 가져가세요.
So I don't feel nothing yet, but when I go to bed, I can feel something. So also we will make perfect playoff too. So keep watching us, please.
Mike Steele and the English. Perfect. What a day for you. And also, next week, Stage 2 playoffs. Your first match is going to be with Shanghai Dragons. How confident are you going into Stage 2 playoff? 자, 다음 주 Stage 2 프로비 시작이 되는데요. 또 첫 번째 경기가 또 다시 상하이 팀과의 경기가 있습니다. 좀 얼마나 Stage 2 프로 자신감이 있으십니까?
Same score.
Same score. You heard the man. Thank you so much, Rascal. Congratulations. Mitch and Matt, back to you guys.
I love it.
Yeah, you do love to see that indeed. Here is your Stage 2 schedule for the San Francisco Shock. Doesn't look pretty. Doesn't look perfect. Clean as a whistle, the Shock have been.
That's nuts.
It's sick.
Like in a league where we got Atlanta beating New York twice in a row, then losing to the Charge, and then you got Boston beating an undefeated Gladiators and losing to the Justice. Like, to come in and just wipe the floor with everybody, that's wild.
Big shout out to the coaching staff from the Shock as well.
Yeah.
It's just as much theirs as it is the teams. But now let's keep moving along here. We have a couple things to wrap up. Our Omen by HP player of the match is indisputably Choi Hyobin. What a performance. First couple maps were just incredible, and this consistent showing from him, getting top final blows in almost every map, by the way. Crazy stuff.
You cannot deal with the Dragons without having an incredible Diva player with the way that Ding plays his Sombra and plays the Pharah. If you don't have Choyobin play at this level, with how close the game was with even him playing at this level, this is a match where the Dragons could definitely have stolen it. But, I mean, the grab eat here at DM towards the end, it's just a massive game overall from Choyobin.
And more importantly, the function that Choyobin fills in this role is something that's not always very flashy, right? Especially against a player like Ding, who's such a good Pharah. And outside of Hyobin, the Shock don't have anything to really shut that down. They have nothing to really access it. The reason why they're able to do what they did on Paris and play the 3-3 so well is because not only are they able to bring the Moira because the enemy team doesn't bring a Diva, but because Choi is constantly harassing, zoning the Pharah Mercy combo away from those critical locations.
And it also shows the level of confidence that they have in him to be able to do that. So let's take a look at the Stage 2 playoff bracket. So Shock Dragons up at the top, Vancouver, Dallas Fuel, should be an excellent match. Gladiators, NYXL, that's going to be nuts. And then Spitfire will play the winner of the Hangzhou Spark in the Seoul Dynasty, which is coming up next.
Now, those brackets will be reseeded once we get towards the semi-finals, but that's pretty much decided. We're still going to find out whether the spark of the dynasty is going to be going to the playoffs. But coming up next, your boy Super's going to be joining the desk, of course, on our Watchpoint Pro show later on today, so hang around for that one. We still got one sick game to go this week, and then we got the Watchpoint Post show. It's going to be worth the wait, guys. Be great to have you with us so far. Stick around. We got more Overwatch action coming right at you a little bit later on. Seoul Dynasty, Hangzhou Spark. That's not going to be one to miss. I do think the Seoul Dynasty are in a good position here, Matt.
The Spark have been kind of underrated. They've been flying under the radar at this stage. You know, they get that big win.